Hi and welcome to the EPM podcast. I'm Bob Tuvey. Earlier this year, RefTech and Eventflow announced a new partnership. The introduction was made by Richard John, who is a meeting and events author, mentor and consultant. At this year's meeting show, I caught up with Christian Skelton of Eventflow and Margaret Rees of RefTech at the Meeting and Events Support Association's exhibit stand. We discussed the power of partnerships and the importance of focusing on your core business. Before we get started, a big thank you to our sponsors for their continued support, Vivid Inc. and Eventflow. More about them at the end of the episode.
I'm Christian. I am CEO, co-founder of Eventflow. So we are an exhibitor sponsor manual system, really. That's the easiest way to put it. We effectively replace traditional exhibitor manuals. Started working with the Goodwood estate many years ago, sort of 2014, around then. And Eventflow came about a couple of years ago. We realised that other event organisers could benefit from the technology.
Hi, Margaret Reeves, Managing Director at RefTech, providing registration and badging into events for both conferences and exhibitions. It's our job to get the visitors and delegates through the doors with their badging, and also to help them do with their scanning. Particularly, we do a lot with medical, where the CPT points involved, where you have to prove your attendance to prove that you've attended the session, whatever it may be about. Provides hopefully a good service to clients. We've got a fantastic repeat rate, and enjoy bringing on new clients to our portfolio every month. So yeah, that's RefTech.
Cool. And you two recently formed a partnership. So where did you see the connection?
It was through a recommendation from, dare I say, Richard John. He felt that we would make a good team, good synergy. And it's all about improving the organiser journey from start to finish of their events. Some of our clients do ask us for, recommendations as to who they could work with to improve their journey. And we got talking and just felt that, it was a good addition to our portfolio, and likewise us on their portfolio. So it's good.
Cool. And Richard John is a published author.
He is indeed. He never lets you forget.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And he's also been a previous guest as well on this podcast. So that's cool.
I think he's. I'm supposed to be a character in one of his upcoming books, from winning the Messer quiz last Christmas. So.
Any idea whether it's a character that's villainous in nature or just a good person in general?
It depends, I suppose. What he thinks of me, but no, I think just going on from what Margaret was saying, I think when Richard put us in contact, I think from our point of view, we're relatively new to really the event space. As I touched on earlier, we've been working with the Goodwood estate for a long time, but we don't have much of a network, and I think that's one of the things Richard said very early on when we were talking to him, is actually you need to go out and make contact with these other providers. We're kind of in a position where we have organisers using Eventflow very early on. So when an exhibitor has signed a contract, the next thing is they would add them to Eventflow. What we don't do, and what we don't plan to do, is any kind of registration or ticketing. But pretty much every customer that uses Eventflow has to have a system in place. So it was absolutely a natural step to start talking to RefTech and see if we can not only refer, but see if we can improve those and streamline those processes. So ultimately, from our side, not just the organiser but the exhibitor, that's often quite neglected in the process, gets a much slicker experience without having to have 50,000 logins for loads of different systems. So,
well, sometimes thinking that we could add this ticketing, badging, and all that sort of thing, is it can be expensive to set up. And then if you've invested all that money and it doesn't prove something that you're going to do for a long time, then it's just expensive. But working with a partner who can bring their own skills
skills that you would have to learn at some point, then it becomes a very beneficial partnership.
Absolutely. I mean, we, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've exhibited a lot at various events, and by default you end up working and using exhibitor manuals, and we've had some awful experiences, and it's my sales and ops director Penny Sellers that deals with that side, and she has used a few. I'm not going to name any, but there's been some that's been absolutely fantastic, and the journey's just been slick, clean, efficient, and just helps improve, because obviously you have to, like, one of the things is you have to provide your insurance details, and it's having the ability to be able to upload into the system quickly and efficiently, and it works well. So it just comes down to whether the organiser is prepared to pay whatever that fee is for the manual, but then those that do use it generally come back and say, that was a great experience and that has saved me so much time. Would that be fair to say?
I think so. We were really surprised coming into this industry just how neglected this whole area of exhibitor manuals is. I think in the entire world there is less than 10 competitors of ours that I can name. Some of them are absolutely shocking, very, very old pieces of software, which is fine if they work, but I think exhibiting ourselves at the first couple of shows, International Confex, Event Tech Live and things, we suddenly realised just the standard, where some of the markets were. That's a lot of it is because the software's been acquired by bigger providers, merged into other platforms, and I think it comes back to what we were saying earlier is, our view is we want to stick in our lane. We don't want to start getting into registration and other areas, because there's still an awful lot more we can do to improve what we're doing. I think the problem is that the event industry has got an awful lot of people that have built software through acquiring, merging products together, or just trying to do everything. And I think actually, we're looking for partners that really want to be the best at what they're doing. And that's what brought us to RevTech in the first place. And
also they would fill in the gaps within your own services where you think, well, we do all of this, but we need to help people with their badging, ticketing solutions. So this is where RevTech comes in.
Yeah, and and there are a lot of competitors out there in our field. Some provide exactly as we do. Some provide very different scenarios. We don't profess to tick all of the boxes with everything that's available out there, but what we do have is tried and tested. And we take great pride in the services that we offer. Of course, as time goes on, we make improvements and add additional functionality to what we do. And as time's gone on over the last 12-18 months, because there's a lot more connectivity with the third-party providers that you're working with, a lot of improvements have had to be made as to how you connect to make that as seamless as possible. And it, like everything at the beginning, it can be hard work, but then you get better as time goes on. Customers want different things, and yes, we've got a partnership with another exhibitor manual company, but again, what will happen is that the organiser will want different things, and what Christian offers to what somebody else offers, the bulk of it may tick each box, but then there might be sort of variants that that just attracts that other client as to what they want, and it's good to give that client the variants and different providers out there, and so that they can compare what they want and how it's going to work.
One of the dangers of trying to do it all yourself is feature creep. So you think, well, we ought to add ticketing, we need to have a virtual element, we need to do this, we need to do that. Next you know, you need more staff, more programmers, more developers, and you may not be doing. You are creating new features that you think needs to be there without actually knowing whether your users or potential users are actually wanting that. So again, that's a benefit of having a partnership. And as you said earlier, staying in your lane, I think that's so important. Because you've got to remember why you're doing what you're doing.
And I read a really interesting article the other day, and it was, there's a lot out there saying that AI is going to be the death of SaaS businesses, and And literally last week we lost our first ever customer to not a competitor, but they said we want to have a crack at doing this with AI and using an AI application development tool. And it's sort of, it's a really interesting time we're going into, but I do think this article I was reading was saying that actually the people that will win are people that can genuinely say they understand the product, they're understanding what they're building. They're not just adding features and features and features. I think because software development's going to get very, very cheap, there is a challenge where everybody's going to try and add everything. And I think actually being really, really focused and being that best in class of what you do is going to be more important than ever. Because, in the last 6 months, Eventflow, it's our own fault for having a very generic name, but in 6 months, when you now Google us, there are 3 AI-built competitor products with the name Eventflow. You're only going to be able to get round, to compete with this by brand building, by trust, by listening to your customers and building a product that they want. And I think going back to that sort of feature creep, it's probably the same for you guys. Even with the customers we've got, there's enough things that they ask for to keep us very busy without going into other areas. So, yeah.
It's a really good thing, helps the branding, as you mentioned, that you are known for one thing and doing it really, really well. Yeah. When you start having feature creep and you go, it now does this, it now does that, you're losing your way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, we're a small team, so...
We're quite strict with our development in that we won't do things just for the sake of. Simon, my business partner, he's the visionary and the guru with regards to the tech, and he digs his heels in, and if we get a request, it'll always be, how many times have we been asked for this, what's the return on investment, and and sometimes it'll be, well, that's a stupid idea, why do they want that? And then we say, well, it doesn't matter that we think it's a stupid idea. If there's money to be made from it and there's a pattern that we think, then yes, we might consider it.
Yes, it is important to think of if we do implement this new feature, as strange as it may be, there is a consideration about will it be profitable? But
yeah, absolutely.
But how far does it take away from your core existence, the reason why you're doing what you're doing? Yeah. And if it takes you astray too far,
we won't. Simon, I'm going to call him our husband then. Simon won't do that at all. He's quite set in what he will and won't do. Yeah. So,
but by having that vision, having that path, you can see in your head which you really ought to write down as opposed to keep it in your head. That's going to guide you. Stick with your why. Yeah. Remember why you've turned up. Yeah. And build that out. Again, it's beneficial for you as a company, but then it does open up to partnership opportunities.
Yeah. We're very much of the ethos that people matter first and foremost, and I'm a firm believer that people buy into people. They buy into people, and I love to be able to build relationships with partners and customers. Some people don't let you build a relationship, they're just very transactional, but then it comes down to you've got to learn to read your audience. But yeah, it's about relationships for me, and being able to be supportive and make those connections, make those recommendations, and just continually moving forward.
Is that networking aspect of people getting together, as you just said?
For sure.
That's a natural thing because we are the event industry, and the event industry is all about face to face.
Yeah, and I think it's also, we spend more and more of our lives on video meetings and all the rest of it, and like you say, the whole industry is built around people meeting in person. And it's incredibly important. But I do, I think there's a lot more opportunity. Our big thing, we hope that going forward there are more companies willing to create partnerships. There's more, people are willing to put the time into building, those kind of API integrations that make people's lives easier. Because I also think there's a lot of disjointed software that we come across, and I think the amount of customers we talk to that will say, you sort of think they've got a relationship with a supplier, and then they turn around to us and go, oh, we'd love to just be able to do this or be able to do that, and streamline a lot of those processes. And I think that's where, if we can come up with some tight integrations with, likes of RefTech and others, I think that's the way to do it. Just have really good, best-in-class products that work, are reliable. I mean, I always remember, don't want to sort of bash other companies, but I remember the first year we exhibited at International Confex. I think it was our first ever show, and this was before RefTech took over, and there were 3-hour queues outside the venue. People couldn't get in. That was our first experience of a show exhibiting, and there was no one here. And I think that's where, when RefTech took over, and suddenly, it just worked. Nobody moaned about it. I think that...
You've got people through the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that says an awful lot when the technology works.
This is the thing everybody wants is, I think there should be a concentration on not just, oh, what wonderful features, but what's the downtime like?
Exactly.
How long does it take you to fix it when it doesn't work?
Well, it's surprising. One of our biggest clients came to us simply because another, exhibitor manual supplier, somebody from overseas, had let them down 2 days before the show. It went offline, and they were, sort of confronted with a ticketing system saying, oh, it will be back up as soon as it can. And this was a huge event in the APAC region, and that was the only reason they moved from that supplier. And you just think that reliability side of it, once there is a problem and people lose confidence, that's it. So.
Well, this is the importance of small independent companies getting supported by event planners, conferences, meetings, whatever, because some of the bigger companies do everything. Oh, you need this? Okay, we'll add that to your licensing fee, and we'll add this and add this, but then you might only ever use one aspect of what they can provide. So again, by staying in your lane and remembering while you're there, you can do one thing really, really well. And somebody's going to use you, and they will keep using you because you are focusing on one thing, not getting distracted. Everything works as it should because you're not distracted by fixing other features. So, again, this is why partnerships work.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is that when we're talking to prospective clients, the key thing is that we listen. We listen to what they want and what their expectations are, but then say to them, right, we can do that, but have you thought of this? Because it's all about making sure that the delegate experience, the customer experience, is the best that it can be. And it might be that they haven't thought about X, Y, or Z. And it's giving them the scenarios, the solutions, the possibilities of what it can be. With COVID, within the industry lost an awful lot of knowledge and experience out of the whole industry, and people have found it difficult to employ. So therefore, the people that have now been employed through hard graft, etc., the industry is losing, doesn't have a lot of knowledge. So it's about educating those people as to, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Now, there's been times when maybe we've not addressed something in that way, because we're all very, very good at, we're creatures of habit. But it's about thinking outside the box and looking at the technology that you've got to offer and saying, we can do this for you. And then hopefully, then with the integrations of other partners, it just makes that whole journey fantastic. And yes, as you say, staying in your lane.
Yeah, I love that expression, staying in your lane. And I heard you say that about a month ago. When it was something you was involved with and I was watching, and I just love that idea. Remembering why you've turned up, stay in your lane and do that one, if it's just one thing, just do it really, really well.
Yeah. Because like I said earlier, I think there's so many more things that we could do to improve, what we've got already. I mean, I think every week we're learning, how to help streamline things. But yeah, I don't think I could summarise it any better than Margaret has, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think stay in your lane and, good partnerships. I think that's what we need.
We were at an event last year. In fact, I think you might have been there. I can't remember. I won't name it. But there were so many partners involved in this event, and various elements didn't work particularly well. It was quite frustrating. And then it was interesting to see the number of exhibitors that were saying that they were award-winning and AI this, AI that. And I walked the floor and I'm like, what? And it was quite eye-opening. This year I think the journey will be different and will be better.
Yeah.
I think lessons have been learnt, mistakes made, etc.
There's one thing I would like people to stop using, and is we are the leading provider.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
yeah,
says
yeah.
they're the leading, but if everybody's leading, then you're all the same.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it doesn't.
for
It's
sure.
a meaningless word. So I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Yeah. So.
And
but-
sometimes they will list their we're award winning. When did you win? About 10 years ago.
and-
Again, it's I'm not entirely sure the word or using the words we're an award winning company
yeah.
actually brings anything extra to the table. If you know what I mean.
I mean, we've had success over the last few years of, being lucky to have won various awards, and we've become a lot more visible on the social platform, and it has reaped us the rewards because people comment about, all I'm seeing is RefTech and seeing your face on social, but it has done us some good. But then we've opted to step back a little bit from the awards. To try and focus on other things. I mean, we're still entering some awards, but not as many as we have done historically.
There's still a bit of debate about the value of awards. I
Absolutely,
think.
absolutely.
So yes, I mean awards are handy to be awarded, but how that works out over a long term, is, I don't think anybody's checked into that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it's we've won clients off awards, but then I completely agree that the award dates very quickly. How long do you keep saying you're award winning? We're actually up for an award this evening, but I think we're the same. We're I think first year we won an award at the first event we went to in the first award ceremony, and it was great. So we chucked a load of money at it the following year, didn't win anything, and then thought, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So
it sounds like both of you got the same sort of views on what we've been talking about. The same sort of views. I mean, is that obviously that's beneficial for a partnership to be all going in the same general direction?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's lots of sort of mutual competitors of ours as well that I think are trying to do everything, and I think that's where we do align really well, is just focusing on what we do.
Not entirely sure there always is competitors, because everybody helps everybody out, because that's how the event industry works. We're all such a friendly bunch of people that if you get stuck with something, competitor or not, they'll come and help out.
It's nice to meet nice people and work with nice people.
Especially here at the meeting show.
Absolutely.
The very hot meeting show.
Yes,
Oh.
for sure.
I'm pleased to report that the meeting show's air conditioning is working really well, because when you walk outside you're hit by, it's like somebody's opened the oven door.
Well, apparently they put it on at 4 o'clock this morning, they were saying yesterday.
Yes, I saw that.
I
I've
think they were
heard that as
worrying
well.
that no one would turn up, but
Yeah.
yes.
Well, thank you guys. I think
No,
we'll
thank
bring it
you.
to an end there. It's
Thank
been
you.
great talking to
Thank you.
and I wish you both best of success for the partnership.
Thank you. Cheers.
Huge thanks to Margaret and Christian for their time, and a big thank you to our partners for their continued support. Eventflow, who you've already heard a lot about, and Vivid Inc., PR and social media marketing specialists for the event industry. I would like to note that while Eventflow is a value sponsor, our conversation remained entirely objective and editorially independent. So what do you think about partnerships in general? What do you see as the pros and cons? Please leave a comment or head over to EPN Journal Community, and the link for that is in the show notes. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get notifications of new episodes. And thank you for listening.